Hey guys, welcome back for another chapter review for One Piece chapter 1171, and it has been a while. It has been a week or two since we had a chapter review, and the unfortunate part is we have a break next week according to the chapter. Now, we get Loki having his Zoro moment. Nothing happened here, which is a spectacle to see. Awesome chapter. And speaking of Zoro, I did get a card from Tag. This is a new collection. Um, right now they weren't going for so much. One Piece card game is crazy that I've started going to Japanese to collect here in cards. This card is awesome. I would grab one. This card is it was really hard to get in English. It went only to like top winners, top three winners in tournaments, and Japanese gets most of these top eight actually. In Japan, you get, and Asia in general, they get a top eight placement in their tournaments, and all top eight of those get the card. So I ended up grabbing one. Card is amazing. Now let's go into the chapter review. Chapter 1171 called Ragnir. So we start off with what happened in Oast Castle with Gabon, Shanks, everybody. Jarul is there. Everybody knows what happened here, and it's incredible that they all. And I have so many questions, right, with why they were able to hold the secret so well. And Jarul, the theory, he has a head injury. He's there, and he actually like lost memory because of the head injury. No, he ends up actually knowing 100% what happened, and the the sword was just through his head and never caused any brain injury at all. So that theories, a lot of theories are out the window in this chapter. He they're asking Jarul if he knew this treasure was gonna be this powerful, and he says no. I just know that it would have been a monstrous effect, a calamity to the world if Harold was able to get the fruit and go out, which is kind of crazy because this upscales, like the upscale on Loki, this chapter and the feat that he did, even though Harold welcomed the finishing blow with open arms, hockey down, so he doesn't tank it at all. He lets it just glass cannon through. Is but the upscale with what Emu says next, man, I mean, anyway, this confirms that holy knights can indeed be taken out, with, which also is like comparing. There's so much comparison with the old gen, right? Because Roger and Garp gave it their all to Adami Reverse Zebek, but Adami Reverse Zebek had his guard up 100%, never letting it down even for a moment, as far as we can tell, and they were able to reverse the effect at the end. So they're there, but then you have Zebek hitting Garling, and he was never able to really take him out, just slow the regeneration with the amount of hockey he poured in. But here, you, unless it's the devil fruit itself, is just, but it also gives so much upscale to the devil fruit that Loki has, because he's able, with the devil fruit, he was able to just get so much power back from eating it that he is able to, as we later see, get enough to actually end a holy night with the deep sea pact. Is it's a feat in itself. Anyway, we'll get to that part in a sec. We have Garling. A moment of Garling is him looking like a loving father, like talking to his son Shanks, like you can do anything, whatever you put your mind to, you can wish for it and it'll come true here. Basically, like just telling him of the greatness of Emu, right? and he gets this resentment, or like not resentment, this guilt, survivor's guilt, I guess. Not even survivor's guilt, this guilt of saying, why couldn't I have talked to him sooner? I could have prevented this from happening if only I was faster. And of course, Gabon is just, with age and years of experience, he says, this is not your fault. You know that we're all here for a reason, and you can't blame yourself for this. And we have Loki in front of his father's corpse, just crying his eyes out. And you see the image, no regeneration, nothing. He is out, top half missing, man. And I was about to make a spoiler to another series, and that hasn't happened, and I am glad I held myself back right there. But whoever knows, man. Right now with the anime starting up again. Oh, anyway, we cut to Mary Joie and Emu talking about how this is unprecedented. Who or what on Elbaf could have possibly been strong enough to kill Harold is just insane. It's insane to me that Emu just well, of course, I guess Emu didn't see anything through Harold's eyes. He just gets to influence. Emu gets to influence the thoughts to make them be the way that he wants them to act. So Emu actually didn't get anything out of Harold's mind. So he wasn't able to know that there's a devil fruit. Loki was the one that was able to do it, and that's who took him out. So nothing was. Emu can't see through their eyes. But we get more information of whoever took Harold out is insanely strong, because we can't send any more reinforcements. That was basically my guy. That was my strongest Holy Knight right now, because he is just a king of such strong disposition that Elbaf should have never even had this type of person be this strong. We should have taken him out earlier, but he was trying to appease for so long to be part of the world government. Um, let me see what else Emu says. But yeah, it's just this opportunity is so, this losing this opportunity is so frustrating. And Emu says that Elbaf is the D. So Elbaf is of the D. So they are basically all D clan members, if we want to go to that point, I guess. Elbaf, specifically Elbaf, not all giants. So let's see. This gives a small reason to why we have a giant straw hat in Mary Joie. Maybe. Because we have that giant straw hat in that cooler room or frozen room for some reason. And that also brings the point of the giant robot, Emmett, climbing the Grand Line. So we definitely had another Joy Boy, and it was most likely a giant, which makes sense. But that just kind of clears it up, that the giant straw hat must have belonged to somebody that had the Nika fruit previously, that awoke Emmett and was gonna cause something. Maybe they were again too early to the cause in fighting Emu, and that's where Emmett got sent back to the Egghead Island to do for research, or not research, to be disassembled. But Saturn created the research facility to do the research on the robot, which again confirms that Emu isn't able to peer into the minds of his subordinates, and that's also the straw hat that's there. So that kind of helps get a little more answers from there. And Loki is telling them that I'm gonna go head out to sea. I'm out. I can't be here. And we have his iconic, not iconic, but we have his Zorro moment of don't tell anybody what happened here today. And he basically says, Jarul asks him, aren't you going to follow your father's last request? And Loki, of course, he's like, no, I can't Can you just look at me? You think I'm gonna follow, be able to do what he did? I can't live up to his standard. I can't live up to my father's footsteps. And just takes the blame for it. He just takes easy. It's easier for everybody to just blame him in this case, and that's what happens. He just takes the blame, and everybody in that room, Jarul, Shanks, and it just makes me ask so many questions, right? Everybody here in that room just follows through with his request of Loki's request, and it's much easier to blame him in this case because him disappearing, tarnishing Harold's legacy and his name and everything he's done, he didn't want to do that. So it's much easier to hate Loki for everything he's done as he is already than trying to prop him up to a king, right? Or like work with Hydruden, which is kind of sad because he should have worked with Hydruden, but it's going to be easier to make them work together here now, right? So, but that makes me ask so many questions, right? Was Shanks the one that stopped him? Why was stopping him a fake story also? Was Loki gonna do something drastic and dumb and knuckleheaded like Luffy would, and like I'm gonna go straight up to Marijois and fight Emu right now after a few years being out at sea? Or was that also fabricated and hold him down? And then when he's tied up, why is he tied up? Is he Why was he asking Luffy for the key? Break him out. Why was he bad talking Shanks? Why why did he need the key? Why was Gabon defending the key? Is this all an elaborate ploy of who's able to be strong enough to kind of hold Loki back, hold Loki in place, so he gets to be in the crew or something like that? I don't know. I'm so but Loki cannot join, even though even if he's able to shrink and shapeshift, which I 100% assume he can do now because of his probably his ability or whatever. Like, can he? If he joins the crew, isn't he stronger than everybody else? He's basically on par with Luffy or just below him. And to be honest, Luffy could probably have done the same thing to Harold if he did the Bajrang gun, and Harold left himself wide open the same. Probably, I would say so. Sure, yeah. But it's just, can he join? I don't think so because he's just so powerful. He's gonna be part of the Grand Fleet, but who actually contests with Loki if he joins the Grand Fleet? Is just like the strongest holy knight. Garling would not. Not Garling, my bad. Shamrock. I guess that's his opponent, right? Shamrock would be his opponent, but then wouldn't Shamrock be? There's so many just questions like who would Shamrock opponent be? Who would Garling's opponent be? When are they supposed to be separated? Is who's who is Loki fighting? Like who? It kind of makes me wonder who is he gonna fight because he is so devastatingly strong. He might actually have to be taken out by like a Blackbeard method. Like he has to be taken out because. And you know what? Blackbeard stealing his devil fruit and creating a low blow and being this powerful actually makes it so he is genuinely Luffy level. He would if he gets this devil fruit, whatever Loki has that gave him this power boost, you know what? He would genuinely be at that above Yonko tier level to be competing with Luffy. That makes more sense. And I'm just going off on a whim here. Because who would Loki genuinely fight and be able to compete with him right now? It would have to be another Yonko. I mean, he takes out a first commander like Zoro, no? Like, even if it's extreme diff or a very hard diff, he takes them out, right? Like, can Zoro actually genuinely hold back Loki? I don't know. So I don't know. Anyway, that's gonna have to take more thought. I just went into a bubble there. Like, anyway, I just went through a tangent there, but help me out, guys. Give me your thoughts in the comment section because I want to know what you guys are thinking because he is devastatingly powerful. And it's also so we finally end the flashback here. We finish off here, go back to Hydruden and Loki talking, and he tells them everything. He's like, "Yep," and what's it called? Gabon says everything's true. And basically, this throws out the theory of Hydruden fighting Loki with a Dami Reversi, right? Because they just made up. Unless you still Dami Reversi him and you get all his insecurities out, and he says, "I've always envied you and all that because you've always had the ancient giant blood. You've always been bigger. You've always been stronger. I've always dislike that about you, and you've just been gifted naturally, and I've had to work for it and all that." And it still can happen in that Domiverse state if they hit him with it. Could happen. We'll see. And then Luffy, of course, has to find the method this arc to remove that Domiverse and get everybody back to normal, or maybe just that one person, Hydruden or whoever. Well, we do have Dory Brogy, so we do need to get them out of that Dami Reversi, but adding Hydruden to it would be nice because that gives somebody for Loki to fight and hold back, but not entirely go all out on. That's good. So that's still my answer for that. We get a moment to unlock Loki from his chains. Hydruden and everybody forgives him, although not forgive him for for everything he's done because he's always been like a troublemaker as it is. So that's pretty funny. And Luffy, this whole end of the chapter brings a smile to my face with them finally making up. We get Luffy excited to see Loki. We have a Draugr. I don't know what that is. It's Norse mythology monster. Drops down. Everybody's going up on the gondola to go up to fight whatever menace. Oh yeah, Emu is there, and Loki's finally unshackled, stretches out, and Luffy, you can just tell, smile on my face. I'm excited. Oh yeah, Chopper is scared of the monster, and then he gets told by Gabon like, "Hey, I know you wanna, help me here, but I'm worried about my son." And so Sanji picks up both of them up and starts hopping back up to the surface. And we finally see Loki stretch, and I'm excited to see Loki fight, man. You have a iconic pose with the hammer jumping through the air. Luffy is excited to see him swing and fight, and he charges at the Dragnir and yells out the attack Niflheim, which is the layer of hell, and freezes the skeleton monster that's in front of them. And that's the end of the chapter. So, man, I mean, there's already theories that whatever devil fruit he has, he's able to control the 9 realms of Norse mythology, or the tree or something like that, because he's able to use lightning and he's able to use ice. So we got to see what else he can do. But man, that is so excited to see Loki keep fighting, man. But it's break next week, unfortunately. Yeah, it was this chapter. I'm just thinking I feel like they were going to say there was no break, but got hit with a break next week. Other than that, that's the end of the chapter. Predictions for the next chapter. I mean, we just get to finally go back up and fight Gunko. Gunko controlled by Emu in this case. But yeah, that's it for the chapter, guys. Let me know if you want me to talk about something else. Anything else? Talk about the card game, which I've been collecting for a while now. Anything else from the chapter that I might have missed? I think I talked about all my theories that I went through, but that's it from me. Of course, leave your comments below. I know I like thought dumped a lot while I was talking about it, because as I'm talking about it in this chapter review, I came up with that about Loki. And so let me know your thoughts, guys. As always, please leave me a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.